What we want to do is just talk about things in a really tight, simple, understandable way about how you can use AI in your everyday work. We don't want to come with like, how does this big company do X? No, this is how you should pick up AI right now in 30 seconds. Start playing around and become 10x better at what you do.
Basically, after watching the video, you should be able to just implement it, try for yourself, see if that actually drive any value creation in your own work or even in your own life. Welcome to episode 0 of Talk Nerdy to Me. Hi, Tammy. How are you going?
Good, David. How you going?
I'm doing good. This is like our third time of recording the intro because our wife's just like, nah, fuck this shit. Like, can't listen to this.
Oh man, I mean, I couldn't listen to it. I'm dog sitting a dog. The dog looked at me and said, what are you doing, Tammy? This is so boring." The software also broke halfway through. We're using Riverside.
Yeah,
It
classic.
corrupted. So
Yeah.
we actually scrapped all three episodes at the start and we turned this into like, what, episode 0, right?
I think a really good place to actually start is we met each other in 2022, talking a little bit about your previous venture. We kind of stayed in touch before then, but I thought I'll let you maybe explain the tension point a little bit around like how like we kind of just became obsessed around this topic of like MCPs and AI. Tammy, how do we turn this obsession into now a podcast?
Yeah, I think like basically what happened is we just got really excited, right? Like you were my customer on like my last startup gala where we were making like an agent for Meta and TikTok ads, and who better to sell to than David, right? And when we're kind of winding up, I think you and I just increasingly had these conversations about some of the things that we were building. And so much of what I realized is like all these software that we're using is just going to turn into a bunch of AI, right?
Facts.
Like the vertical software market, I think is going to really shift. And we had these like started to have these really intense WhatsApp calls just
Yeah.
casually. I think it was like 10 p.m. your time, 1 p.m. my time. I'd be kind of walking around like King's Cross, London, and it just felt like a great opportunity to just try to codify them and chuck them in a recording and see if there was something interesting.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, we scrapped the first 3.
Yeah, I have to say that like the first couple of times we chatted, I was just like walking around outside my place, and I was like, don't want this conversation to stop. I just want to keep going. Because what it feels like, I was just describing this to my team member. I was like, in the 2000s, when the dot-com bubble burst, you kind of had like the physical infrastructure for internet that was set up, and then basically over time, the application layer starting to like flourish, and then off those application layer, there's a couple winners that kind of came out, right? So there you have your Google, YouTube, etc. Some of those tech giants today. What it feels like today is like that internet era feels very similar to the LLM foundation models that kind of over the last couple of years really rise to the top. Anthropic, ChatGPT, etc., like that's become really, really popular. But I think like the application layer that sits on top is still currently unchallenged. Yes, there's like a negative connotation to like GPT wrappers, but then like who the fuck cares? It's like it's a great application, and it's like if you
Hey,
solve a
hey
great
man, hey man,
problem, great problem.
VC funds are super fun rappers, right? Like everything's a rapper or something. I mean, who was it? The Perplexity founder? He's like, yeah, I'm a rapper on OpenAI, and OpenAI is a rapper on like Nvidia, and Nvidia is a rapper on AMD. Like everyone's a rapper on something. Like that's called supply chain.
Yeah, I mean, like at some point, we also have to admit that, like, the current business I'm in, like, in some ways that we are rapper for, like some of the carriers or the airplane tickets that's sold by like Qantas or Jetstar, etc. It's just like what the value that we provide is really like the brand, some of the value creation on payment methods. I think we can just stop being so precious about like all of this random shit around needing to create value from scratch, and like and be so precious about like, oh, it's a GPT wrapper. Who cares if it solves a great problem for the end customer and you can build a great brand around it? Who the fuck
And you can
cares?
charge, and people consistently come back and pay. Who
Yeah,
cares? Like, let's not over intellectualize it. So, background very quickly: product, was a program manager at Atlassian, then was a PM at Amazon in the retail team. So really cut my teeth there on ops and supply chain, and then moved on and became a PM at Canva, where I led and launched the video product. And
nice.
then also was working on mobile, and so across the way picked up a Product Hunt Golden Kitty, which is like a product of the year, and Apple App of the
Nice.
year. But more importantly, in the last 3 years, which is more relevant, I've become much more technical. I can
Mm.
write code, I can code code much better. I've built 2 to 3 different AI startups that have made money, and in the process of selling off one right now. So really understand this sort of space. But David, why should we listen to you?
Wait, I think it's so interesting that you kind of glossed over it, that like you made the emphasis around AI startups that actually made money. That feels like a jab. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Here's the thing. I think we did a spreadsheet on how much money some of these startups have made, like raised, how much they've
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
And I agree that like there's some that like hit a lift up point and some of them need GPUs and whatever have you. But I'd say there's probably a lot of startups out there that have
Yeah.
raised a ton more money than they've made.
Mhm.
And are they even coming close to some sort of meaningful 10 mil revenue plus liftoff?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. Don't think so.
Mm. Yeah,
Right. And
interesting.
that's probably a spicy hot take. Maybe they're going to figure something out in the future and I'll eat my words. I hope
Yeah.
so. I'm never going to dig on a founder in the arena, but I think
Mm.
there's a lot of overcapitalized startups out there kind of walking around.
I mean, it'll be interesting over the next couple of years to see how those well capitalized startups actually have some kind of product that they could sell to people.
Mm.
Okay, well, a little bit about me. So I think I met Tame kind of like closer towards the end of my Eucalyptus journey. So for those of you who don't know, Eucalyptus is basically the a healthcare company that actually started in Australia that feels very much like Hims in the US. So we have different brands that caters to very specific types of healthcare problems. So I ran the brand Pilot, which is the equivalent of the men's brand over in the US called Hims. Mostly focused on like very sensitive men's healthcare problems. So that could be like hair loss, ED, PE, weight loss, etc. And I started in the business like probably in 2021, where I think I thought I knew marketing, and then I realized that coming into like a high caliber, very very intense environment that I didn't know anything about marketing, I had to relearn. So the environment was like probably the best way for me to actually relearn all of the things that I thought I know about marketing, and then like actually massively up elevated my skill set. I think before then, like one of my most interesting, one of the most interesting things about me is like I started a YouTube channel during the pandemic, and I talked a lot about personal finance during that. Grew that to over I think 47,000 subscribers. I was pretty happy doing that, but I think one of the biggest thing was like money wasn't exactly a problem, but looking into the camera and then like basically writing scripts every day by myself felt very lonely. And I think like joining Eucalyptus was the opportunity for me to actually go like meet smarter people, actually learn from them. I think that was like really important to me. And I think like that's pretty much about me. I mean, like currently, yes, I'm running a growth team over in a startup called Slice. But I guess we'll talk a little bit more about like our background over time. But I think that the main highlight here is just Tame brings a lot of big tech and also like fast growing startup experience. I also bring a wealth of experience coming from healthcare, which is a lot more marketing a product that's like a little bit more sensitive to talk about. In some cases, we can't even talk about the product, but it's mostly dick jokes. Actually, I just spent so much time like making ads for dick
Well,
jokes.
I was about to throw that out there. Like David, on the WhatsApp calls, the way you describe the marketing is a lot more specific.
Yeah,
Probably a lot less PC, politically correct. And I love that you glossed over ED when ED was such a large proportion of the
oh, it's
marketing
basically
that
all our
you
money.
did.
Yeah, it's basically
Right.
like a good chunk of it. I mean, like, I think like I learned a lot about like psychology. When I was when I was running the brand. Ultimately, it's like what drives behavior is like either money, sex, or power. And the ED problem really sat in the sex and section of like what drives movement. So I think we'll have a lot to share in the ED arena. And it's so much fun. It's like there's just like it's very
Tongue
it's
in
very
cheek,
like
very tongue in cheek, very, very, very on the nose. We're not
yeah.
we're not saying it, but we're saying it.
Yeah, and I think like once you're part of that environment where you're just like thinking constantly about like how to connect with men in a very comedic way, in a non-PC way, I can't switch off. And I'm in an environment now that's just like maybe that's not necessarily the right thing to do in terms of just like, but I can't stop thinking about dick jokes. It's just like, it's like someone will say, oh, I'm getting old, or like, like I'm getting slower. In my mind, I was like, oh, that was an ad around like it happens to the best of us that like as you get older. But yeah, I think like we talked a little bit about the tension point. We talked a little bit about our experience. I think like a question for you, Tame, is what do we want to do with this podcast or these videos?
I think if people haven't gathered it yet, we don't want to be yet another tech podcast. I think there's enough of these tech podcasts out there in the universe. What we're gonna do is just talk about things in a really tight, simple, understandable way about how you can use AI in your everyday work. Right?
Mm.
We don't want to come with like, how does this big company do X? No, this is how you should pick up AI right now in 30 seconds. Start playing around and become 10x better at what you do. And if you haven't gathered yet, we will try and be very entertaining along the way. It won't read like, here's the future of AI. And what you do is this, and it's amazing. Isn't that amazing, David? Isn't it so intellectual? That's not us. That's not me. That's not you. So this podcast will not be that way. Eh? If we do an episode that comes out that way,
Should let
please
us know.
let us know. Give us feedback. I think that's gonna be the really important thing, right, David? Like we're super into that.
Yeah, 100%. I think like feedback's important. We really wanted this medium or this capture of our learning journey to just be useful. Just be like basically after watching the video, you should be able to just implement it, try it for yourself, see if that actually drive any value creation in your own work or even in your own life. That's ultimately the objective here. Just like really documenting our learnings and just have a lot of fun along the way. That's pretty much it. Just taking basically our late night conversations that we really should be spending more time with our wife, but instead of like doing that, like we're talking about AI shit, and now it's like we're
Yeah.
bringing that to you guys, so then like you can enjoy it and see what happens.
Yeah. Love it.
I think what would be a really good close off point here is that the first official episode after all of these failures of like recording, will be on Facebook ads leveraging a MCP that Tammy has built. Personally, I've seen this work, especially around doing creative research. So I'm really excited to see that. And until next time, see you soon.
Tune in.